What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Nash here. Welcome back to the channel. Now, before we get started with today's very interesting video, the road to 200 subs has now come to a close, and we're now, we're now on the road to 500 subs. Who knows? Maybe we might hit 500 subs by the end of the summer. Only time will tell. But excuse me. But as I have said in previous videos, if this channel does get to 500 subs, I will open up this Korean LOB booster box in its entirety on the channel that I got from my partners at Collector Store. So be sure to check them out. Link and address will be in the description below. By checking them out, not only does it support them, it also supports the channel, and I would greatly appreciate it. On the hopes to potentially pull a Blue Eyes White Dragon, a Dark Magician, a Red Eyes Black Dragon, a piece of Exodia, Monster Reborn, Pot of Greed. The possibilities are out there. However, if this channel gets to 1,000 subs, I will open up this first edition Toon Chaos box in its entirety on the channel that I also got from my partners at Collector Store, on the hopes to potentially pull a collector's rare out of this set, much similar to what I pulled out of my Genesis Impact box that I opened up last year, which is this beautiful B-Cop from the Underworld. This thing looks absolutely beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. It is incredible. This card is definitely going to be going up in price with all of the new decks that are going to be coming out in the format. Excuse me, but so definitely pick yourself up a few copies if you haven't already. But as for me, I will be getting this card graded, but I never came up with a good opportunity to do so. But with that being said, if you guys want to see these boxes get opened, maybe you guys want more episodes of WWE's Biggest Issue. Maybe you guys want more episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh's Biggest Issue. Deck profiles, card discussions, WWE topic videos, or maybe, just maybe, you guys want some premium live event predictions and results. Well, if you guys want all of that and more, my channel is the place to be. So if you guys are new to the channel, and I know that a lot of you guys are, because more than 80% of you guys, literally more than 80% of you guys are watching the content, but you guys aren't even subscribed. And to top it all off, we got to get more women to watch the content as well. So if you guys are watching the content, you like the content, and you want more of the content, but you guys have yet to subscribe, then make sure you guys do indeed subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, smash that thumbs up button on this video, and as always, make sure you guys are following me on all of my social media. My ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And I want you guys to post in the comments below answering the question of the day, which in a way it kind of ties with today's video. But the question of the day is this: which team would you guys like to see challenge the Kabuki Warriors for the women's tag team titles at WrestleMania? Let me know down in the comments below. And for today's video, funny enough, there are a pair of Hall of Famers who are teasing a possible return for a shot at the tag titles at WrestleMania. But who are they? Who are they? Well, they are none other than Trish, Stratus, and Lita. And I know what you guys are thinking. You guys are probably asking yourselves, wait a minute, Trish and Lita, didn't Trish turn on Lita last year or something? Yes, I know what you're thinking, and yeah, that may have been the case, but I guess, excuse me, but I guess they patched things up, and everything is A-okay. Now, it is interesting to note that last year, Lita and Becky Lynch defeated Damage Control's Dakota Kai and Io Sky to win the women's tag team titles, and because the Trish Stratus and Bayley got involved in a brawl on the outside of the ring, that's what caused both Dakota and Io the loss of the women's tag team titles. And funny enough, Becky and Lita held on to the titles for a couple of months, and what I find so very unique is that when you really think about it, we were not expecting the dream match of Becky Lynch versus Trish Stratus. Because you had the top woman of the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression Era versus the top woman of the modern era of women's wrestling in WWE, and they had literally a near 5-month rivalry that culminated at Payback last year in September. And ironically enough, they actually did a Q&A session at For the Love of Wrestling, which I believe is a podcast, if I remember correctly. And obviously, big shout out, no copyrights as always. Both Trish and Lita actually were asked about returning to WWE for one last title run in WWE, which Lita brought up, ironically, potentially challenging for the women's tag team titles, which are currently held by Asuka and Kairi, known as the Kabuki Warriors. Lita actually said, quote, "We have touched on that. It's a great question. I feel like that should be the last question, but only because it's awesome. But people like to talk about this imaginary curse of the tag titles. But I think that if Trish and I were tag champs, that somehow the curse would magically disappear." Trish actually chimed in, sending a message to the Kabuki Warriors of Damage Control, saying, quote, "What do you guys think of that? You're not ready for Team Bestie." And interestingly enough, the last time we saw Trish Stratus in WWE, again, was at Payback last year, where not only did she lose to Becky Lynch in that steel cage match, but let's also not forget that Zoe Stark also attacked Trish Stratus right then after. So it's also interesting to note that Trish Stratus, even though we hadn't seen her since September, she's actually still listed as an active member of the Raw roster on WWE.com. So if you go to WWE.com and you go to their Superstar page, which I'm doing right now here on the laptop, it'll show that Trish Stratus is actually on there, which is absolutely, in my opinion, is absolutely insane. Like, I did not think that was the case, but it is indeed the case. And funny enough, you look at the champions that we have right now. Think about this. It's crazy. I mean, think about this, right? Roman Reigns, the undisputed champion. Seth freaking Rollins, the world heavyweight champion. Io Sky, the current WWE women's champion. Logan Paul, the United States champion, which I did not think it was ever gonna come to pass. Excuse me. Ilya Dragunov, the NXT champion, who he might end up he might lose the title at Stand and Deliver against Tony D'Angelo, which is possible, but we will have to wait and see. But think about this: you go to the Raw roster and you look at who's there. Literally, it's the list of who's who that's currently on the Raw roster. You've got Akira Tozawa, you've got Andrade, you've got Braun Strowman. Ironically enough, yes, even though Braun Strowman is injured and he's been out for over a year, he is still on the active roster, which there has been rumors that he could potentially return, possibly after WrestleMania, but I'm not so sure if that is going to be the case. But you've got Becky Lynch, you've got Chad Gable, you've got Chelsea Green. Funny enough, you got CM Punk, you got Cody Rhodes, Dexter Lumis is still on the active roster, but there hasn't been much for him since his rivalry with The Miz over money. Over money. Think about that, guys. Think about that. You got Drew McIntyre, you got Finn Balor, you got Gunther, the Intercontinental Champion. You got main event Jey Uso. You got Kaden Carter and Katana Chance, Liv Morgan, Kofi Kingston. You scroll down all the way down to Seth freaking Rollins and Sami Zayn. And when you look under the T's, you've got Tegan Nox, The Miz, Tommaso Ciampa, Trish Stratus, Triple H, and right next to Triple H on the right side, it says Trish Stratus. Yeah. So it got fans asking if we could see Trish Stratus back in WWE for one last title run, which honestly, the idea of Trish and Lita becoming tag team champions, I love it. I love it. I think it's a great way to showcase that those who competed in the Ruthless Aggression era, in the Attitude Era, they can still kick your ass and win championships. So it'll be interesting to say the very least, but the idea is incredible. Having those two, Trish and Lita, challenge the Kabuki Warriors for the women's tag team titles, I'm all for it. But there's also another team that could potentially challenge for the women's tag team titles, and if you haven't figured it out after what happened last night on SmackDown, it's none other than the strange team of Bianca Belair and Naomi. Obviously, everyone knows that they've been friends for quite some time, and there's been a lot of rumors going around saying that with Bianca Belair not having a match at WrestleMania this year, we could potentially see Bianca and Naomi team up to take on the Kabuki Warriors. In which case, if it becomes a triple threat, then Bianca Belair might end up having her second WrestleMania loss. I know some people think that her time in the WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal was like, didn't count as a loss, but it was a part of WrestleMania, so you can bet your ass that it does count as a loss. But the one thing as well that dawned on me is the fact that supposedly Asuka has now been sidelined with an injury. And you guys are probably thinking, what kind of injury is it? Well, it's actually none other than a knee injury, which took place, let's see. which took place sometime, I think sometime between between the 8th and the 15th. So I want to say around the 15th, which was last week on SmackDown. So one could argue that we might not see Asuka and Kairi defend the tag titles at WrestleMania, but it goes without saying. But it goes without saying to know the full extent of Asuka's injuries, and apparently there's been an update on Asuka's injury, courtesy of PW Insider. Big shout outs to them. No copyrights as always. And apparently the update is that her knee injury is as real as it can get, and it was confirmed by multiple sources. And as far as the extent of her injury, I can tell you that the extent of her injury is still being determined. However, she has been temporarily pulled from being in the ring just to be safe. And if Asuka is unable to defend the tag titles at WrestleMania, then it'll be interesting, because when you look at all of the tag teams that are currently in WWE right now, one could argue that there might be a match where the titles not only become vacant, but we crown brand new champions. So only time will tell. But I will say this. To close out today's video, I will say this. At this stage on the road to WrestleMania, because we're already what? Let's see. We're already 14 days away from WrestleMania. We are 2 weeks away from WrestleMania, and at this stage, there's no telling what can happen next. I mean, the card itself literally speaks for itself. I mean, you've got Io Sky versus Bayley, Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes. You've got Seth freaking Rollins versus Drew McIntyre, Gunther versus Sami Zayn. You've got arguably one of the biggest tag team matches in wrestling history, which features Cody Rhodes and Seth freaking Rollins versus The Rock and Roman Reigns. You got Jey Uso, main event Jey Uso versus Jimmy Uso, LA Knight versus AJ Styles, and then of course you got Logan Paul versus both Kevin Owens and Randy Orton in a triple threat for his US Championship. Honestly, at this stage, we don't know. We don't know if Asuka is going to be cleared to compete, or if they're going to have to drop the women's tag team titles and we have to crown new champions at WrestleMania. Because as of now, there's nothing going on with the women's tag team titles. They're not even booked for WrestleMania, but that could all change within the next week, especially with one person in particular, and that is Jade Cargill. With her now being a part of officially being a part of the SmackDown roster, one could assume that if Jade Cargill found herself a tag team partner, maybe those two could challenge for the women's tag team titles. But only time will tell. We will have to wait and see over the course of the next week or so. But with that being said, that will do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys want more WWE topic videos in the future, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and follow me on all of my social media. My ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.